Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Shut Up and Read. Today I'll be doing my book haul for the month of June. So anyways, let's just get right into it. So I'm actually pretty proud of myself this time around to not haul that many books. I have about 30-ish books to discuss in this video, or just to share in this video, because I'm not going to go too much into detail about all of them. So I'm pretty happy about that because remember the days where I had like 60 plus books? Yeah, this time around I counted them, I have about 30-ish. So the first one that I got is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. This one has been talked about a lot recently and I'm just really excited for it. It seems to be really cute and fluffy. It's a contemporary romance and I want to say it has the hate to love trope going on, and apparently it's done really well. It's really cute. So what I remember from what I have heard so far is that it's about someone's wedding and something happened, everyone got food poisoning, and only 2 people somehow managed to not get food poisoning, and that is, I want to say it's the sister of the bride or the brother of the groom, something like that. Like they're somehow related to each other for whatever reason, and they actually don't like each other. 2 people don't like each other, and so they end up pretending to be the couple that just got married and going off to this honeymoon. And so from there things happen, they fall in love, I'm assuming, and I heard it's like super adorable, so I'm very excited for it. So of course I was like, I have to get this book. The next one that I got came randomly. I want to say it came unsolicited, and that is The Poison Garden by A.J. Banner. I don't actually know too much about this book, but I do know that it's supposed to be a thriller, and that's kind of all I know about it. It says over here, one look and her life appears perfect, now look closer. So I don't know, but it's a thriller. I'm in the thriller mood, so I'm very excited for this one. Oh, and this one comes out on October 22nd, 2019. Then the next book that I got came from a publisher, and that is Teeth in the Mist by Dawn Kurtagic. Oh my god, I definitely pronounced that name. I'm so sorry. But this one is supposed to be a creepy-ish novel, and I am so psyched for that. I feel like I haven't read that many creepy horror kind of books recently, so this one seems right up my alley. And I want to say that this book takes place in a boarding school-esque kind of setting, and I feel like I haven't read that many boarding school horror books recently, so I'm very excited for this one. Also, can I just say that I love this cover? So it looks like this, but like it's kind of like this too, because the mountains are there and then everything's like upside down. I don't know. I just thought the cover was kind of cool. And this one comes out on sometime in June 2019, so actually it's probably out already. The next book that I got was actually from a publicity agency for a pop-up tour, and that is Return of the Evening Star by Diane Rios. This is book 2 of the Silver Mountain series. I actually don't know too much of this series. I haven't actually read the first one yet, but I do know that it's some sort of fantasy magical elements to it and has something to do with an animal army. So that sounds really intriguing as well. I also really love the cover. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I was like yes to this pop-up tour. So anyways, this is the next book that I got. The next book that I got was from a publisher, and that is Sisters of Shadow and Light by Sarah B. Larson. This one sounds so good actually, and honestly what piqued me the most was the paladin. I feel like there's something to do with paladins here, and that sounds so fascinating to me. And this book is supposed to be a fantastical tale about the bond of these 2 sisters and the magic that can tear them apart, and I'm just really excited for this one. And this one comes out in November 2019. Next is a book that I got from a Goodreads giveaway, and that is Earth to Charlie by Justin Olson. I don't really know too much about this book, but I believe it's a coming of age, and it follows a boy called Charlie Dickens, and there's also something to do with alien abductions, and it's a coming of age kind of story about friendship and grief and all that stuff. And I don't know, but it sounds really adorable, and I'm really excited for this one. Then I got a few books from Barnes & Noble. The first one is Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. I haven't actually read the first one yet, but based on my own reading preferences and the people who have recommended it, I feel like I will really enjoy it. And I believe the 3rd and final book, I want to say, is coming out soon. So of course I was like, I want to get all the books first so I can just binge read it when it comes out, and I'm very excited for this one. So this one is a sci-fi-ish kind of novel. It's kind of futuristic, I want to say, where we now live in a period of time where there's no death. Like something happens to you, they can actually fix you and you be good as new. Something to do with like your age as well. They can like reverse you to your whatever age you want, I want to say. Like I don't actually really know too much, but there are these people now that have been trained to call sites where they actually go and kill people because they have to kind of curb the population and stuff. But I don't know too much other than that, but it sounds so good, and everyone who's read it has been like raving about it and just really loving it. So I have high expectations for the series, so of course I was like, I need to get the second book. Next is Nightblood by Ellie Blake. This I believe is the 3rd and final book to the Frostblood saga, and I haven't actually read the series yet, but I feel like, again, based on my reading preferences, I will really enjoy this book. It's like a completely up my alley basically. I just know that it's a fantasy book that's something to do with magic and something to do with, I want to say there's like Frostblood and Fireblood, and somehow they're like types of people with magic, the different types of magics, and they don't like each other, I want to say. I may be wrong though, but anyways, I'm really excited for this one. This sounds really good. I've heard really high praise for this series as well. Not too much recently, I want to say, but I heard a lot last year. So anyways, I'm very excited for this one. My next book is Sorcery of Thrones by Margaret Rogerson. This book, guys, have been getting all the hype recently. I heard so many good things about this book. So all I know about this book is it's a YA fantasy. It's something to do with magical grimoires, magical libraries, all that stuff. It follows a girl called Elizabeth who one day something happens and she becomes somehow involved with this crime where the most dangerous grimoire becomes released, and this whole adventure and journey happens after that, and everyone who's read it so far has been loving it, and just I feel like this book is so good. I'm really excited for it, and yeah, I just cannot wait to read this as soon as possible. Then I got a tiny little book, and that is Hometown Hope by Laura Blount. I got this book for a Bookstagram pop-up tour, and they asked me if I wanted to just post it, and I was like, sure, why not? And all I know is that it sounds really cute. It's like a romance thing. It's about a father who's willing to do anything for his daughter, and that includes bridging this fallout that he had with someone, and there's like possible romance that's going on. I don't know, but it sounds really cute. And this book, look at the size of this book, guys. It's just adorable. So this sounds like a really cute read. But yeah, this is my next book. Next is a book that I got from a Books for Trade, and that is 99% Mine by Sally Thorne. I haven't heard too many positive things about this book. Most people really loved her first book, and that is The Hating Game. At least I believe that's her first book. At least I believe this is her sophomore book. I might be wrong there. But it's not as raved about, but I'm still really excited for it regardless. I just know it's a contemporary romance and things happen, guys. There's gonna be romance, and I feel like summer is a perfect time for that, so I'm very excited for this one. Then I got a book from my Bookstagram friend, and that is The Candle and the Flame by Nafisa Azad. I am actually really excited for this book. First of all, this cover is completely gorgeous, and also thank you so much for sending this to me. And honestly, all I know about this book is that it's an agent-inspired fantasy. It's about a city that's set in the Silk Road, and it's about jinns. I was like, as soon as I heard all of that, I was like, I am sold for this book. I also heard that it features a lot of strong, independent women, and I am all up for that, so I'm really, really excited to read this as soon as possible. Next I got is The Perfect Plan by Brian Reardon. This one came unsolicited by the publisher. I don't know too much about this book other than the fact that it's a psychological thriller. It follows two brothers who are somehow locked together to this dangerous game, and there's also these secrets involved, and it sounds really intriguing. And this one just came out. It came out in June 2019. Next up is The Islanders by Meg Mitchell Moore. This one also came unsolicited. I don't know too much about this book at all. I want to say it's a contemporary. It says over here, one summer, three strangers, and an island full of secrets. So maybe there's some thriller aspects to it as well. And I believe this book just came out recently. It came out on June 2019. Next, I got a bunch of books from Barnes & Noble. The first one is The Tiger at Midnight by Swati Tirdala. I'm so sorry, I definitely pronounced her name wrong. But this is yet another YA Asian-inspired fantasy. And honestly, I am just loving the fact that there are so many rich, gorgeous, and lush fantasies that are inspired by Asia that's coming out these days, because we all need more of that. So I'm very excited for this one. And this one follows two people. One is Isha, who is a legend. She's an assassin. And then we follow Kunal, who is a soldier. His uncle is actually the general, and of course one day their paths collide and just things kind of go from there, and it sounds really good. Also, I am loving this cover. So I haven't actually heard too much about this book yet, but it's an Asian inspired fantasy. That alone already piqued my interest, and I was like, I need to support my Asian people, so really excited for this one. Then I got Nocturna by Maya Montaigne. Gosh, I'm so sorry, I definitely butchered your name. But this one, okay, originally I wasn't so sure about this one, but everyone who has read it recently had been just hyping it up for me, so I was like, this sounds really good actually. So it's about a girl. Her name is Fin Voy, and she is a face shipper, which means that she can change her face to whoever, I guess. And then one day she ends up being caught by this mobster, and now she has to go on this impossible mission, and that is to somehow obtain this legendary treasure from this castle. And then on the flip side, we follow a prince. His name is Prince Affair. His older brother was murdered, and so now he is first in line to the throne. And because of the fact that his brother was just murdered, he is riddled with grief, and he will do anything that he can to somehow get his brother back, and that includes dabbling with magic. So something happens with the two of them. Obviously, I bet there's going to be romance, adventure, magic, all that stuff, and this book sounds really good actually. And because of all the hype that's going on, I'm really excited for this one. Next is The Everlasting Rose by Danielle Clayton. This is the sequel to The Bells. I read The Bells somewhat recently. I will link that reading blog up in case you want to check that out. But so what happened for that book was that the first half was not the greatest, but the second half got really good, and by the end I was really fascinated. I want to know what happens next because it ends with a huge cliffhanger. And so this one I was debating for the longest time if I should get it or not, because the first book, like I said already, the first half was kind of mediocre to be honest, but because it ended on such a high note for me, I was really intrigued to pick up the sequel, and I just been holding off on it because I was like, I don't know if I should or not. But you know what, I finally did it. I was like, I just want to know what happens next, guys, because the first book was actually a really good build up to a sequel, because I feel like the author did a really good job of laying all the groundwork now in the first book, that I think the second one will be so much better. So I got it. It's about these bells who somehow have these magic abilities. It's about this like society where people are actually really ugly now. They're really like bland looking. I forget exactly how they're described, but there are these bells who are somehow have these like magical abilities where they can actually make people beautiful. In a way, it kind of reminds me of like plastic surgeon, where they go and make people pretty, but there's a lot of pain involved. So that kind of reminds me of plastic surgery, because I'm like, I feel like people who go to get plastic surgery, they don't come out looking amazing right away. There's so much pain and like recuperation involved going on there. So I feel like it kind of reminds me of that, but there's just so much more to it. There's all these plot going on, and it was really good. So I was like, I want to pick up the sequel, so I want to know what happens next. So this is this book, guys. Then I got The Missing of Claire de Lune by Christelle Dabos. This is book 2 of the Mirror Visitor Quartet. I just finished the first one recently, and it was so good. I have never read a book that is just so complicated in the world that it's in. The author did such a good job of creating all these intricacies and this magic system and just a very diverse world. And so I finished it and I was like, I need to read the second book as soon as possible. It is a little confusing because it's just so complex and complicated, but honestly it is so worth it. And of course I was like, I have to get this book, so I got it. I actually got this book before I finished it, but I was like, I need this, and I'm hoping to read this sometime in August actually for one of my readathons, because I was like, I need to know what happens next. Then I got The Chosen by Taran Matharu. Definitely pronounced his name wrong, I'm so sorry, but this one sounds really good. It's about a guy, his name is Cade, and he goes off to boarding school. So it's another boarding school book, but it's not set in boarding school, because shortly after he goes there, somehow he becomes transported to this other realm, and there him and his friends, I guess his friends got transported with him, somehow become contenders to this brutal game. And this whole thing goes on, and he's just trying to figure out like what the heck is going on. And I heard that it's crazy, but in a really good way, so I am so intrigued. Then I got another book from a publisher that it came unsolicited, and that is Perfect Revenge by Emily Liebert. I don't really know too much about this book at all. I just know it's a thriller, and it says back here that it's supposed to be reminiscent of The Wife Between Us and The Perfect Nanny, which I have read neither, so I don't really know what to say other than that. But this is another thriller book, and honestly I feel like thrillers are perfect for summer, so I'm actually kind of intrigued by this one. Then I got My Fate According to the Butterfly by Gail D. Villanueva. This one's actually for a Bookstagram pop-up tour, and this book is set in the Philippines. I want to say it's also a middle grade book, and it's a coming of age story about family, reconciliation, and recovery, and it sounds really adorable. And honestly, I just love the cover, guys. I'm so excited to be part of this Bookstagram tour because this cover will be gorgeous for that. Then I got another book that was unsolicited, and that is Salvage by Madeline Rue. This one comes out on October 15, 2019. And again, I don't know too much about this book, but it says over here it's a woman on the run, a cabin adrift in space. One of them is infected with an alien parasite. So that already sounds really fascinating, and I am like really excited for that. Again, I haven't really read too many sci-fi books recently, so I'm loving the fact that all these sci-fi books are coming my way, and I am like living it up. Next is Past Perfect Life by Elizabeth Eberg. This one I got from Book of the Month, which I am happy to say that I'm now an affiliate for Book of the Month YA. I'm so excited to be an affiliate for them. So that basically just means that if you like me and you support me, then you should definitely sign up for it in my link down below. I believe that right now they're doing some sort of promotion where it's only $10 for the first month using the coupon code WOW. And again, all information will be down below, so if you haven't signed up for it and you've been eyeing for it, maybe now's the time for you guys to check it out and sign up and support me in the meantime. But yeah, so I got this book as an affiliate for them. So this book follows a girl called Allison who has been living the past 15 years regularly. She has a small town life, family, best friends, all that stuff. And then one day she learns that she's actually not Allison Smith, but in fact she has been missing for the past 15 years. So now obviously she has all these questions, finds out if everything was a lie, what happens now, all that stuff, and it sounds really fascinating. And it's a book that's about secrets and lies, reality and identity, and it sounds really, really good. Next I got The Two Lila Bennets by Liz Fenton and Lisa Steinke. Oh gosh, I definitely pronounced her name wrong. But this one also came unsolicited by a publicity agency. And this one, I want to say it's like a thriller-esque kind of book. It has some sort of magical realism involved in here, where it follows a girl called Lila Bennett. And apparently she makes a lot of bad decisions. And one day, one of these decisions bites her in the ass, and her life basically decides to split into two. So this book is set in the real world, but in one life, she's taken hostage by someone, and the other life, she escapes her captor, but she is hunted now by someone who's trying to dismantle her happiness. And right now it seems that her career as a criminal defense attorney, her marriage, and her life are all on the line. So now she's trying to figure out who is out to get her. There's all these like mystery involved. So there's definitely some thriller, mystery, magical realism involved in here, and it sounds really good. Next, I got a bunch of books from Book Outlet because I realized I haven't bought anything from them recently, so I was like, yes, please. The first two books that I got is The Star Touched Queen by Roshni Chokshi. Then I got A Crown of Wishes by Roshni Chokshi. They're technically a series, but I believe that they follow completely different characters and it's a different story, but it's set in the same world, I want to say. So they're kind of unrelated, but they're technically part of a series. But I was really inspired to pick up her books after I read The Gilded Wolves because I actually really enjoyed that. Apparently it's an unpopular opinion because a lot of people didn't enjoy it, but I really enjoyed it, so I was very curious with this one. And these two are yet another YA Asian inspired fantasy, and that's all I really know about it. But I heard previous books, I really enjoyed them, so I saw these on sale. They were like $3 or $4, so I was like, yes, why not? But this over here, this one is Fate and Fortune, Power and Passion. What does it take to be the queen of a kingdom when you're only 17? And this one over here says, an ancient mystery, an unlikely union for one young princess in a state of peril, a dangerous wish could be the only answer. So it sounded really good. I'm really excited. Next is The Retribution of Mara Dyer by Michelle Hodkin. This, I believe, is the third and final book to the Mara Dyer trilogy, and honestly, I am still under the assumption that I haven't read the last one yet, so I was like, I need to get it. I got the first two books recently, so I finally hauled the last book in the series, and I cannot wait to read it because according to Goodreads, I rated the first two books 5 stars, and I didn't rate this one at all, so I am under the assumption that I haven't read it yet. But I'm really excited to reread the first two because I want to see if I still like it as much as I did back then. I read it like ages ago, but I gave them both 5 stars, so I feel like I would still like it, hopefully. And hopefully I will give this third and final book 5 stars as well. And honestly, I don't really know too much about the series, but I believe it follows a girl called Mara Dyer, obviously. And something about she waking up, it's a coma, and there's a bunch of lies going on, she doesn't know who to trust, etc. But it sounds really good, and I really liked it back in the day, apparently, so really excited for this one. Then the next book is The Darkest Star by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This one is the first book of a spin-off series called The Origin, and it's a spin-off series to another series called Lux, or The Lux, I forget exactly, and I really enjoyed that series a lot. It's a paranormal series, features aliens, there's romance in it, there's a lot of adventure, and it was really good. So of course when I found out she was doing a spin-off series, and I believe it's technically set prior to the Lux series, I was so intrigued. I recently got the second one during Book Expo, so of course I was like, wait, I need to first read the first one. So yeah, I'm really excited for this one. I cannot wait to see what more adventures is in store for me for this one. Then I got a classic of a story. I want to say it's a modern classic book, and that is Lily and the Octopus by Stephen Rowley. I don't actually know anything about this book, but it seems to be really, really good from all the raving reviews that I've read. And it says over here, it reminds us how it feels to love fiercely, how difficult it is to let go, and how worthwhile it is to fight for what matters. So I don't really know other than that, but I feel like this book would be a beloved book, a beloved classic, so I'm really excited. Then I got The Loneliest Girl in the Universe by Lauren James. So this one is about a girl who is the daughter of these 2 astronauts. Something happens to their parents, a tragic accident occurs, and she is basically, I want to say she is the only person right now in the spaceship. So she is completely lonely, hence the title, The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. And the only person that she has somewhat in contact with right now is her therapist, but that's via these messages. Until one day, NASA alerts her that there is another spaceship that'll be joining her, and that spaceship is called the Eternity. And so she decides to start sending messages to Jay, who is the commander of this new spaceship. And so this friendship forms, and while this friendship is forming, she also learns eventually that there is something happening and there's something worse, and she realizes that there might be something more worse than being alone. So this book sounds like it might even be like a thriller-ish mystery kind of book, but I don't know, I've heard some mixed reviews, but it was $5, so I was like, why not? Then I got Tempest and Slaughter by Tamora Pierce. I have also heard some mixed reviews about this book, but I have read the total like Chronicles series a long time ago. I don't really remember too much about those books, so I might have to reread them sometime soon because it's been a really long time since I read any of her books, to be honest. And I believe that this book is kind of a continuation, or it follows something, it's in the same world, something like that. Like somehow it's related to those series. So I feel like because I have read her series before, I might enjoy it more, because it seems to me that a lot of mixed reviews came from people who haven't read her previous books. So they're basically just jumping into a series set in a world that has a history and they don't know it. So I kind of feel like I might be better, but I might have to reread the books anyways because it's been a very long time. But it's a fantasy book. It's set in this fantasy world, obviously, and it's about school for mages, I want to say. And I've also heard that it's just basically about these students and just kind of talks about their life while they're going through school in this school for mages. So I'm pretty excited for it. Then I got a book from my Beacon book box, and that is The Beholder by Anna Bright. This one is another fantasy book. It follows a girl, well, she's a princess technically, and her name is Selah, and she knows that she has this one duty, and that is to somehow marry well for the sake of her kingdom. So she goes on some sort of adventure, goes take a ship, sails off, journey across the lands to find someone for her. And something to do with her stepmother. She's also like, her stepmother is somehow sabotaging this thing, and I guess she's trying to hope that Sita doesn't return so she can take over the throne. But it sounds really intriguing. There's definitely some sort of political court intrigue going on as well. And yeah, I haven't heard too much other than that, but it sounds pretty good. Then the last 3 final books that I got are from my novel book box. I was so thankful to be invited to their novel breakfast during Book Expo. I will link my vlog up in case you want to check that out, where I featured some clips from that event. So I got a bunch of books from that box, and let's talk about them. So I got 3 books. The first one actually is The Teeth in the Mist. So I actually got the finished copy, so now I have 2. So I will probably do some sort of giveaway or books for trade, something like that, for my ARC version, because I might as well. I don't need 2 copies of the same book. So I'm not going to talk too much about this one because I literally just talked about it in the same video. So this is the first one that I got from the novel book box. Then I got these 2 books, Thrill Like a Girl by Sarah Henning, as well as A Match Made in Mehendi by Nadine Pajpai. I'm hoping I pronounced her name correctly. These are both YA contemporary romances, which is why I kind of wanted to talk about them together. This one is about a girl, something happens, and she's somehow on some sort of probation. And this guy is, I want to say he's a quarterback. Something happens to him, and he cannot play right now, so he somehow ends up training her so she can play in his position. I don't know why they're doing that. Like, I feel like that concept is very strange to me, but I'm rolling with it, okay? And so he begins training her, and obviously some sort of romance ensues, and it's supposed to be really cute and fluffy, so I'm all about that. And this one's about a girl. Her name is Simi, and she comes from a long line of matchmakers. And then she accidentally sets up her cousin with this soon-to-be lawyer, and her family is thrilled that she has this gift of matchmaking. And then one day she ends up deciding to somehow utilize this gift to somehow up her social status. So she begins a matchmaking service via an app. And from there, of course, drama ensues, and it just sounds really exciting, and it sounds like very cute book. So anyways, I'm excited for these 2 books. Again, I'm so grateful to be invited to the novel breakfast because that was actually a really cool event. So anyways, those are all the books that I got during the month of June. It wasn't the craziest month ever, so I feel like there has been a lot of crazy months, but it was still a pretty good haul, I want to say. But anyways, let me know down below which book that I hauled this month that you're most excited for. Which book do you want me to read as soon as possible that you're like, I will love immediately, etc. Give me all your information down below. But as always, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe down below, don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!